Happy Friday. We're excited to bring you this local services ad webinar with some great experts. We've got some experts from the Google team. We've got some experts here from VitalStorm. And Ashley Orton and I are here as well. So if we can flip to the next screen, Austin, I'll let you know who's on the call. And I'll also take care of some of those housekeeping items so that you can enjoy today's webinar. So Ashley and I, Ashley works with our Pro Partner program. Probably you've talked to Ashley or Charlie about your Pro Partner program or something to do with the portal. I also work with our Pro Partner program, but also all of our channel marketing initiatives and training. Our job today is to act as your hosts. We're going to help make sure that this is an easy and educational opportunity for you, but we're also here to help you after today's webinar. So one of the things I always think about when I join a webinar is, do I have to write down everything everybody says and, you know, do a mad dash on taking notes? Good news for you is it's Friday and our Google team has graciously agreed to give us their deck that we're going to be able to share with you. So if you see something on the screen, you don't have to write down every single little nuanced thing. You'll probably want to take some notes for yourself, but you're going to have this deck as a great reference tool. So hopefully that helps you relax a little bit. Additionally, there's also a Q&A feature. Throughout the presentation, a question may pop into your mind. Go ahead and submit that question. We're going to take as many as we can within our time slot today, but we do have a ton of content. If we don't get to all of your questions today during the webinar, our gracious experts from both VitalStorm and Google have agreed to take a little time on Monday afternoon and write those answers down for you. We'll share that out to you so that you can see the answers to everyone's questions as given to you by our experts. So hopefully that helps you relax and enjoy today's content. Obviously, we have our Google team with us today. We've got Ryan and Subadesh. Sub has let us call him Sub, so if you've got a question, go ahead and ask him. And Ryan will be leading us through the local services ad content. And I'm really excited because I know when Ashley and I talk to Pro Partners, we do get asked about Google Guarantee, local service ads, how can I be more successful? I'm sure you get more questions than we do. So hopefully their expertise and guidance will be very helpful to you. They'll even go into things like helping you understand how to explain the pricing models and budgeting to your contractors. And I think this is going to be great, is they're going to share some best practices and give us key behaviors that we can share with Pro Partners so that we can help them and guide them to be more successful. In addition to our Google team, and they are going to be doing the bulk of today's presentation, we also have some experts from VitalStorm. We've got Austin on the screen. Austin is our wizard of technology today. So he is driving today's presentation. We thought since the Ruud team is working remotely, we thought it would be safest to have this presentation hosted by our friends at VitalStorm in the North Texas area. We did not know that thunderstorms were going to roll through this morning, so we've already had a few power outages, and we're hoping the next hour is all thumbs up. But hang on the line. If something goes wrong, the team can fix it. So we've got Austin and Jeff. Jeff is the founder of VitalStorm, and there's really a couple of reasons that I thought it would be very helpful to you to have them join our call. So we've got our Google experts. They're definitely going to give us a worldview or give us advice as Google sees it, but they're not necessarily Pro Partner experts or experts in our field. That's what VitalStorm does very, very well. Actually, I learned from Subadesh that the way Ruud met VitalStorm was actually many years ago, before Ashley and I were part of the team. Ruud was working on some campaigns and they just frankly weren't going all that well. And Google reached back and said, you know, I think you don't have the right partner and we'd love to introduce you to VitalStorm. And that's how the relationship began, was Google actually introduced us to VitalStorm because they are a Google Premier agency. And what does that mean to you? I'm going to let Jeff give you all the details, but from my perspective, only 3% of agencies can have that distinction. And it means that Google knows they've got the right certification, they run enough advertising to know what they're doing, and very, very importantly, Google also checks to make sure that their performance is great so that your customers are getting the most for their dollars. So I think you can feel very confident and trusting in VitalStorm's advice. The other reason I thought they would be very helpful is I know they have hundreds of customers across the country, and this is a national call, who are today HVAC contractors, they are plumbers, they are electricians. So if you have a question specific to one of your pro partners, I know that this team has great empathy and great understanding of what our customers need and kind of how they think. So the other thing is Jeff has agreed to be a resource to all of you. After today's call, we can't call the Google team up anytime we want. We'd love to, but Jeff will also help us, and Ashley and I will be a resource to you as well after this call. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Jeff to tell us a little bit about why he thinks local search ads are really kind of a nice match, especially for somebody starting their digital marketing.
Wow.
Jeff, I'm handing it off to you.
Okay, can you guys hear me okay? Good, awesome.
Thumbs up.
So first of all, Kim's a pretty hard act to follow. That was awesome. Thank you for that introduction. And Kim, I'm also, I want to just formally thank you and also the Ruud marketing team for allowing us to be a part of this webinar today. I'm super excited. We've always had a great relationship with Ruud. And I think most of you know, and maybe you picked it up from what Kim just said, we have been managing sort of the pro partner, kind of a lead generation and also performance branding campaigns for the last several years. And it's been a great relationship. But I'm really looking forward to working with the distributors and in turn working with the pro partners. Excuse me, guys, I've got some allergies, so I apologize in advance. As far as my background goes, Kim pretty much nailed it. I think why we're such a good fit for the pro partners is the fact that I've really spent the last 10 years working exclusively with home service companies. And so what that means to you is I've kind of seen it. I've been there. I understand the difference between shoulder seasons and when it's nice and hot, right? We understand how things change throughout the country as the seasons change. I understand the difference between replacement, tune-up, repair campaigns. So those are things that I've already kind of been through, and I'd love to kind of bring my experiences to the pro partners. And that really kind of brings us to kind of why the subject matter for today's webinar. And so, like I said, the hundreds of accounts I've looked at, we wanted to put together some content that we believed was going to be really good for the pro partners who are just kind of getting into this world of digital marketing, that are really wanting to start building their business. So when I look at all the types of campaigns that are available, and there are a lot of different kinds of campaigns, but the local service ads really, to me, is a great place for pro partners to start. It seems when compared to everything else, we seem to get the best performance overall as far as an ROI. And also there seems to be less risk involved, right? Because who hasn't talked to someone who's invested something in a digital marketing campaign and they felt like they got nothing back for it? I've heard that many, many, many times. And I think that by leveraging the local service ads, we take a lot of that risk sort of out of the loop for the pro partners, because we want them to have a great experience with the first campaigns that they implement. Also, I feel like working through this process on kind of getting up and going with local service ads will also help kind of instill some best practices in the pro partner organization. Best practices like asking for reviews, right? We all know the importance of online reviews, and by working through this process with us, I think it'll kind of instill some of those values within the pro partner organization. So with that said, I want to introduce Subhadesh. Subhadesh lost his video, but I'm assuming he's still there. So Subhadesh is part of the support team that has worked with VitalStorm really for years now. As part of our Premier Partnership, Kim mentioned it earlier, and really as being a Premier Partner, what that means to our customers or to the pro partners is that we have access to the Google team. We're able to organize meetings like we have today. We get access to betas. If there's a question that we can't figure out, if there's a problem that we can't solve, we can lean upon that Google team, and they're there to support us and in turn support you guys. And then Ryan, so happy to have Ryan on the team today. Ryan and I just recently met, but she is coming to us directly from the local services ads team. So I'll let Ryan give you a little bit of her background, but I'm super excited to have her on this call. She's an expert in this, in these types of ads. And so she's gonna be able to really kind of lay it out for us. and really kind of give us a plan that we can implement for your pro partners to help them get up and going and honestly driving leads and building their business. So listen, if there are any more questions for me, obviously I know Austin can, can see the chat. If we can't get to them today, I will definitely follow up. So listen, that's kind of my piece. Again, I'm happy to be here, excited about the future. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Ryan, and she's going to explain local service ads. So thank you very much, Ryan.
Thanks so much, Jeff. And hello, everyone, today. Happy Friday to our Ruud team. Yeah, my name's Ryan Marie. I am the program manager for our local services ads, third-party teams. So why don't we go ahead and get started, and we're going to go over local services ads, the value, what consumers want, basic setup, and a few more items. So what consumers want from local services ads. Here's just a quick snapshot for you guys so you guys can take a look. They want a tailored search experience, responsive service providers, and of course, the job done right. So with local services ads, you've got a curated search, responsive providers, and the job done right. And we do that all through our Google business verifications, which we'll get through in a little bit. All right, so here we're going to go over the product overview. What is local services ads? So local services ads makes it easy for local providers to connect with people who are searching on Google for the service they offer, whether it's HVAC, plumbing, pest control. We've got tons of different verticals. Customers can see the business information, read reviews, and get in touch directly with the provider through the ad. With the Google Guarantee Badge or the Google Screen Badge, potential customers will know that the services they're booking are with qualified and trusted professionals, and that their satisfaction is backed by Google. We're going to go a little bit more into what those badges are in a little bit. Some key points about local services ads, or as we like to call it, LSA. It is not a replacement for Google Ads. Local services works in conjunction with Google Ads and is a complementary product focusing on different parts of the funnel. And local services is a lead generation based product. So this is very different from most of the other advertisings you're going to see online. So we charge based on cost per lead. So you're not going to pay for clicks. You're not going to pay for impressions. You're going to pay when you get a real lead coming in. All right, who are we talking to? So we've got quite a few home services verticals. We've just recently launched into professional services and some creative services. Our home services verticals at this time are the most robust. You can see here's a snapshot of some of the services we offer: cleaning, electricians, plumbers, roofers, and so on. Here is a quick snapshot of the actual search page. So here you can see someone search for a locksmith. What's really key right here is you can see on both desktop and mobile, those local services ad results. That's going to be the very first thing that consumers see when they search for one of our verticals. And here you can see a little bit deeper. Once they click into the local services ads, they'll see more than that 3 you would have gotten on desktop or the 2 for mobile. Consumers can click into a specific provider, and you can see here we're moving from check for locksmiths in the area to EJ's Plumbing specifically. Just a little snapshot that you can see some of the details will allow you to have in your ad. All right, and what are some of the benefits of local services ads? You're going to show up at the top of search. You're going to only pay for results, again, because we are a cost per lead based program. You're going to book local jobs, and you can pause your ad anytime. So one of the key differentiators between local services ads and other Google products is we try to make this an easy product to get started on. So over here, you can see the Google Guarantee and the Google Screen Badge. Oh, no worry, Austin.
Sorry.
We're just it right now. So yeah, also the Google Screen and the Google Guarantee Badge are huge differentiators. And if you move forward, Austin, we can get into those. So what is the Google Guarantee Badge? The Google Guarantee Badge is granted to providers on local services ads who have gone through all of our business verification checks, all the checks you need to go through to be live on LSA. It helps you to build a great reputation online, build trust with providers, as it signifies to consumers that you've gone through all of our background checks, license checks, insurance check, whatever they need to feel comfortable to book you. And you can easily get started with the Google Guarantee Badge. So we do have some resources on the slide for you, and once we send you this deck, you'll have access to all of those. A really big difference between the Google Guarantee Badge and our Google Screened Badge. Our Google Guarantee Badge is for all of our home services verticals, and it allows consumers who have booked a job with a provider who has Google Guarantee, excuse me, if you go back to Google Guarantee, sorry about that, Austin. The Google Guarantee Badge allows consumers who book a job with a provider who has that badge to have a lifetime money-back guarantee of $2,000. So for whatever reason, the consumer's not happy with the job done, they can get up to $2,000 back. And that's, again, just a nice signifier for consumers to know that the provider they're booking with is trusted. You can move ahead to Google Screened. So Google Screened Badge, this is for our professional services verticals. Now, I'm going to skim pretty lightly over the professional services vertical since I know that's not specific to Ruud, but I did want you to just have this information available for some snapshots, and then you will get it in the deck when we send it to you. The Google Screened Badge is for our professional and creative services, and while there's no money-back guarantee, it's again a signifier to consumers that these types of verticals and the providers serving on them have gone through our background checks and the other business verification checks that we require. All right, cost structure. So we already went over this a little bit. As we said, it's pay per lead or CPL, cost per lead. The cost structure is you set a weekly budget based on the average number of leads that you want to receive in any given week. We're going to take that budget and make it a monthly budget. And so by week, you may spend a little bit more or a little bit less than what you have on your weekly budget, but we'll never spend more than your monthly budget. You are able to immediately dispute leads that you think aren't valid. And again, that's an offer only available in the US and Canada. Successfully disputed leads are credited back into your account. We also have message leads, which we'll get into a little bit more in this presentation. And message leads are currently booked at 50% of the cost of phone leads. So we've got a few different ways for you to get leads here. How you're charged. So again, you charge for each lead you receive in your local services ads. All of that information for the lead is going to go into your dashboard. After you've received your leads and you've reached your monthly max, your ad will be taken down unless you'd like to add more budget and get more leads. Go ahead and move forward, Austin. Okay, so onboarding. So this is the most strenuous part of the process. It's going through the Google verification steps. It's really helpful to have an agency on board for this part because they can help you move through this quickly and confidently. I know the Vital Storm team has tons of experience going through this. So here's a quick overview of some of the onboarding processes that you'll need to go through: a background check, license check, insurance check, and advanced verification, but only for a few verticals. So the background check, business owners, and in some case business entity where employees don't need to be checked, vendors, really anyone that's going to be responding to a lead they got on local services ads will go through the background check for our home services. Background checks may include civil litigation, history checks, and a few other services such as judgments and liens from the federal courts. And then for your field workers or people that will be going out and taking the leads, we do identity and criminal checks. Our background check providers are two third-party companies. We use them to make it a completely separate process, and that way it's not Google checking your employees. We don't have access into that sort of personal identifying information. You will be assigned one of the background check providers based on the vertical you're in. Evident is for all home services. Pinkerton Investigative Services is currently for our professional services and any providers who are located in Canada. The key note from this slide is that you must start your background check from within the local services ads dashboard. So this is actually two pictures of a screen. You can see on the left side, we've got a business license, proof of insurance, background check. That's a screenshot of our business verification portal, which is going to list out everything that you need to submit in order to go live on local services ads. You can see there the background check, It has a little box that lets you go right into your background check. So go to Evident. The provider would need to click on that to get started. The key note here, since Pinkerton and Evident are totally separate entities, we do not have access into their information, and we do require that providers or agencies supporting providers reach out to either Pinkerton or Evident directly for support. All right, license checks. So depending on the country, state, provincial area, whatever it is, Google verifies that the service providers hold the applicable licenses. That's as easy as sending us their license numbers. We'll let you know exactly which licenses are required to go live in a specific state or vertical. License checks, again, I'm going to sort of quickly go over professional services. There's a few different nuances for lawyer accounts or tax attorney accounts, and we do require specific licenses for lawyers beyond just a business owner license. So that would be the bar license. And we can move over this one, Austin. All right, insurance tax. Most providers must submit proof of insurance. Pretty standard if required by the vertical and geolocation. Most commonly, you're going to see a requirement for general liability insurance. We simply need the document that states that you have that insurance. Once you create your account, we'll let you know exactly what our thresholds are. All right, and then advanced verification. Advanced verification is required only for a few of our verticals, and specifically at this time, it's locksmith and garage door pros. And that's an additional screening qualification they go through. It's a video call. So if you guys ever have any questions about advanced verification, we do have a specific Help Center article about it and a contact form. But advanced verification, and that's again only for locksmith and garage door providers, will be the very last check that's gone through. All right, and here's one more nuance for professional services. We also require headshots for them, and those headshots for all professional services ads will show up in the actual search engine results. All right, now we're going to jump into ad management. So again, we just went over some of the verification and screening requirements. It's going to be based on your geolocation and the vertical you're serving. So it won't be the same requirements across the board. So you can see here two examples. We've got on the top some business verification requirements for a home services provider. And right below, you can see we've got some business verification requirements for a professional service provider. We do also have pre-badge ads. It's a way to start advertising early without the Google guarantee or the Google screened badge. And we let you do pre-badge ads once you've submitted your required licenses, as long as you have at least one review, and we're going to take your GMB link and all the reviews associated with that, and it will be attached to your local services ads. And then billing needs to be set up. So while you're working through background check and getting your COI documents, you can also be serving ads sooner with pre-badge ads as you're working towards completing all of the verification requirements. All right, here we've got profile and budget. I've actually split this up into two pages, two slides. The profile and budget page is going to be your main tab on local services ads to let you go and add additional information. You can add business bios, and you can see from this screenshot, we try to keep it very simple. There's a little pencil icon is to make edits. Most of these are just toggle on and off, so it's not filling out information or coming up with ad copy. It's very simply marking who you would like to serve to and your business attributes. So here in this screen, you can see the business bio at the top. Our very first square is around your ad is on. Really important, it's as simple as toggling that on and off to signify whether or not you want your ad to show. You can do ad schedules all day, or you can do just while you're open. Here you can see budget, and we're going to get into bidding a little bit later. That's a new feature, but you'll either have a budget or a budget and bidding. Job types within your vertical. So this one, I believe, I'm having a little trouble seeing it. Some sort of installation. So you can see for this consumer, anything that's marked off, if he receives a lead for attic venting or door installation, he's going to be able to immediately dispute those because he has those job types turned off. Okay, so next slide. Here's a little bit more about profile and budget tab. You can add all the photos you want. This is where you'll turn on message leads. You'll update your service areas, so anywhere that you want your ad to serve, you'll be able to add in those geolocations there, and then your business hours. All right, next we have a leads inbox. This is where you'll be able to see and manage all the information pertaining to leads and listen to old call recordings. We on the Google side can't hear your call recordings. They're going to be unique to you. You'll be able to see new phone calls here, active leads that you're working with, booked leads that you've scheduled dates to go in and see them, and a completed tab. You can see underneath here where it says potential customer, you'll be able to add in any customer notes you have. There's that recording you can listen to, and additional details. Also, you can mark as booked right from within this tab. Thanks, Austin. All right, reviews. So as I mentioned, you must have at least one review to start serving on local services ads. You can connect your Google My Business or GMB, as we're more familiar with, to your local services ads, or local services ads will give you the ability to create a review link specifically for local services ads. And that you can use if you don't already have a GMB link. All right, we're about to get into the 3 Bs. So budget. So we touched on this a little bit. Here you can see sort of that weekly budget card that you're given. You can either put in, I want to receive 10 leads and it's going to give you a recommended budget, or you can put in whatever budget you like and it'll tell you approximately how many leads you can receive for that. Again, you may sometimes spend more on leads than your average weekly budget, but you'll never spend more than your monthly max. You can dispute leads that you believe aren't valid, and we will later comp those back to you. A really important note is you only have 30 days to dispute your leads, so it's important to get in there and be active. All right, how you're charged? Again, you're charged by each lead that you receive through local services ad. Lead prices are going to vary depending on the job type, the location, and so on. All right, billing. So billing, you set up through your AdWords. It's one of the few things that ties into AdWords with LSA. It's just your billing information as well as your account access levels. So here you can see on your LSA tab, it's going to let you enter your credit card information if that's how you want to pay. Right here, that's going to feed into your AdWords, where you can set it up in AdWords. So we have some additional resources down there for you if you guys do have any questions, but it's pretty simple. All right, and bidding. So bidding or auction is brand new to local services ads. It's available for all professional verticals, and we're currently in a pilot for our home services vertical. So only specific geos and locations in the US are included in the pilot. Bidding allows providers the ability to influence their ranking by bidding higher on the price they're willing to pay per lead. Really clear here, this is not an Angie's List or one of those other group billing platforms where a consumer will say they want a job done and then providers are bidding on the work. None of that's ever going to happen. This is all done behind the scenes. A provider will still choose the specific contractor that they want to work, a consumer will still choose the specific provider they want to work with, but bidding influences where your ad is ranked in the local services ads. So it's just one more factor that we tie into it. Even if you're willing to pay more for a lead, you're not going to pay unless a consumer calls you and unless that's a real lead. So again, we'll never spend more than your budget. We've got 2 different bidding options here, maximize leads and set max per lead. And again, those are both based on your budget. So we're not going to go over your budget in that monthly setting. The right bid is going to, oh, you're good, Austin. Yeah, the right bid is going to vary based on geo or markets. But that's another great reason to have an agency working with you. All right, and next we're jumping into optimization of your ad. All right, message leads. So we had touched upon this briefly. This is a new feature that we have available with local services ads. It's an additional way for consumers to reach out to providers for jobs. It's currently available for all home service and professional services across the US and Canada, and it's leads at half the cost of phone leads. If you're in auction or bidding, your lead with a message is going to come at half the price of whatever you would have bid on. So some key benefits there for providers: you can reach more customers, since some customers prefer message or text leads. And then you've got flexibility to receive leads when you can't answer the phone. So again, that's on that profile and budget tab, and it's as simple as turning message leads on or off with a little toggle. All right, here we've got some best practices to keep in mind when setting up or changing your ads. The 3 R's, hugely important: radius, reviews, and responsiveness. Radius, make sure your service areas are totally up to date. You've got them all filled out. Reviews, ask for reviews for every job well done. And responsiveness is very important. Be sure to answer calls or respond to text message leads as soon as possible. So add all relevant job types, all zip codes, highlight your differentiators, and those business bio details, upload photos, maintain your business hours, set your budget for how many leads you realistically want to receive. If you're able to engage in auction or bidding, please go ahead and do that. And we're always rolling out new features to help make local services ads more on target and just a better experience for both the providers and consumers. All right, and here are a quick view at some of our ad ranking factors. Some of these are black box where you're not going to be able to see how you rank against other providers. A few of the factors in these calculations include your verification status, and that's going to be whether you've gone through all the steps to receive that Google badge. The context of the person's search, the review scores, and how many reviews you receive, your responsiveness, and that means, are you answering all those calls? Are you responding quickly back to those message leads? Are your business hours up to date? And whether or not we've received complaints about your business. So in addition to these ranking factors, Google will attempt to spread out the leads you receive. So let's say you want to receive 10 leads a week. If we've gone through Tuesday and you've received 5 leads already, we're going to start parsing out when your ad shows, so you'll be able to show a little bit every day, all week, to get that to get that time on our local services ads platform. All right, so again, Google Ads and local services ads together, they're complementary. You're going to get more real estate coverage on that very first screen that users come and look at, better efficiency, as in lower bundled costs for leads across the omnichannel, and more reach. Okay, so here we've got a few success stories, and I don't actually know if we have time to watch these. I'll defer. Yeah, okay, so why don't we pick, the Gmails, just one of them is fine. So just a quick view at some of our success stories here. And I don't know if anyone can hear that.
We're in Dallas today.
My name is Karen. I am the owner and managing director of Gmail. Phone and I started cleaning houses 15 years ago by ourselves. We built the company from the ground up.
Karen and Juan rely on Google to help them reach new customers in their community.
Clients who really visit our office, Google shows us as humans behind this digital storefront. Having the Google guarantee checkmark does reassure the client that we're a legit business, so there's a lot of value in that. We pay living wages and benefits to our employees. It's very important for us that they work with dignity and respect.
Today, Karen spends less time finding new clients and more growing her team.
Google gives us freedom of time to develop and train our cleaning team. For us to have an eco-friendly company, it's key. I'm personally very allergic and I have reactions to toxic chemicals. So to be able to provide that service to other families, that means we're making an impact in our city. We can specifically say which areas we want to service so our clients know that we're part of their community.
With local services, things have taken off for Gmates.
Our traffic increased significantly and it allowed us to get more business. We believe there are other entrepreneurs conscious of the environment like us who want to bring eco-friendly services to their community.
Great. Thanks, Austin.
Absolutely.
So just a little view at one of our successful clients there. We could go ahead and go to the next slide. Again, you guys will have this deck so you'll be able to see anything. We can move forward on this one as well. It's just another success story. And here's some professional services testimonials. Again, not totally specific to Ruud, but still nice for you guys to have. And then some additional resources that we'll send over to your way on early next week.
Great. Thank you so much, Ryan. I know we've got a couple of questions coming up in the chat, and maybe as Austin cues those up, I did want to ask Jeff and probably the Google team, one question I know I've heard is, how rigorous or intimidating is that background check for the Google guarantee? Do you have any tips for how contractors can navigate that successfully versus maybe getting frustrated in the process?
So I'll answer, and then I'll would ask Ryan to jump in as well, because I can just speak from my experience. So in going through those slides, it may seem like there's a lot to the onboarding process. There's a lot of pieces of information that got to go to a lot of different places. So one of the value adds that VitalStorm tries to bring to the table is we're going to give you basically a document where you go in and put everything in one place, and then VitalStorm will then take that information and plug it into the right places to really help streamline this process. And we're just trying to make it as easy as possible. That said, there are certain things that you do have to fill out, and we'll be waiting on you for that information, or waiting for the pro partner for that information. As far as the background checks go, I know that sounds a little scary to everyone. I mean, background checks is like Big Brother watching kind of stuff, and we tend to back away from that. But honestly, we've had really there are some delays sometimes, but really relatively good experiences with background checks. So the thing is, though, is I don't know the answers for sure, right? Because it is a background check. It is private. They don't share the information with anyone. Even the people submitting the background checks don't know exactly. I mean, you don't get the information back. So you never get any information about someone's specific background. So it's very, very private. And then my impression is they're not looking for, people make mistakes. They're not looking for someone who got a DWI 10 years ago, or someone who maybe got some kind of a minor drug charge at some point in their life. They're looking for, it's my perception, this is where I asked Ryan to chime in, they're looking for dangerous people that people would not feel comfortable coming into their home. But I just don't have the specifics available to me. So Ryan, can you add to that?
I'm absolutely gonna jump in. Yeah, they're gonna look for criminal history checks, like a DUI or something like that. You can always reach out directly to Evident or Pinkerton prior to submitting the background check if you have a specific question. But it's really our recommendation as far as the background check is to just get started on it right away, because it's really not that complicated. It's going to be submitting, your name, your information, so that our team can go in, or not our team, excuse me, the Evident or Pinkerton team can just go in and make sure that you're safe workers. It would be similar to other background checks that you might have taken to start a new job. So there's common background checks. They're not, any more or less, I think, deep than you would get for a normal background check to start a new job. But again, they're a separate entity, so Google will not answer questions about exactly what they do look for, but we do totally empower all of our providers who work with us to reach out to them directly.
Very good. Thank you for answering that question. I think it's a nice peace of mind and reassurance for consumers, especially in cities that are experiencing high population growth. A lot of times folks move to a new city and they don't know who to trust. So Google, much like being a pro partner, gives that extra recognition and distinction. Having the Google guarantee would also be helpful. Any insights in terms of what a typical cost per lead might run for a contractor, or what a program might cost a contractor who is getting started in this world? I'm sure it varies across the country.
Yeah, it absolutely does. It varies based on your what state you're in and what vertical you're in. So we actually do have a pretty good cost page in here. Let me link it to this group. And then you can go in and, Austin, I don't know if you want to pull this up on your screen.
Did you post it in the chat?
I just
Oh, there
chatted
we
it.
go. Got it.
So for example, let's go ahead and put for the zip code 95616.
956.
And then let's do, I want 10 new leads. Come on, let's think big, people. And then I'm a what, roofer, HVAC, what, any of these are good. Plumbers, yeah, there we go. Right there. So that's gonna be just a starting monthly budget recommendation for 10 leads a month. If you guys think you can do more than 10 leads a month, you know, up that number up. So we do have that tool available on our local services page. And that's also one of the resources we have available on this deck. So you guys will receive that link.
Yeah, that'll be helpful. I'm imagining people may get that question anytime, but also if you are looking for an agency, and I know many of you have agencies and your pro partners have folks that they work with, we're not trying to get in the way of that in any way, shape, or form. You can continue that, but you can also use Jeff as a good resource, or if you're looking for a partner to trust through the process, that's also a good option for you. Austin, if you want to go back to kind of our wrap-up slide, I want to give some folks some options as to what we can expect today. I think I just saw the right slide. So if today was just, you know, great, you learned a lot, you're going to get this deck, we're going to make sure that everyone gets a copy of this deck from your salesperson who invited you. And then we'll also do any Q&As. So if you're popping questions into the block right now, go ahead and we'll give you written answers to those as well. So look for that midweek. I've put Jeff's information here because he has personally invited anybody to call him as a resource and a follow-up on this. There might be some of you that are thinking, you know, we're putting together our Pro Partner program because, as you know, we do invite you to customize your Pro Partner program. You might be thinking, I want to share this information with my Pro Partners, but I don't really want to do it all by myself. Here's what we can do for you to support you after this call. If you let your salesperson know that you would like to have a little help sharing this information and talking about local search with your pro partners, they will reach out to Ashley and I, and Ashley and I and Jeff will jump on a call with you to understand exactly what you'd like to accomplish with your pro partners. And we'll talk about your specific program. And then from there, we'll also do one webinar for all your pro partners. So if you want to get them all together for a group where you're the host, walking through that, we would love to be able to volunteer the Google team to do that, you know, 500 times, but I kind of think they've got day jobs there with Google. So Jeff and the VitalStorm team have offered a certain amount of time, and Ashley and I will also take the time to help support you. You don't need to feel alone. This is something that you may want to talk to your pro partners about, and we're happy to help you in that endeavor. So what you need to do is then reach out to your sales associate, just let them know that you want some help presenting this in a webinar to your customers, to your pro partners, and we'll help you do that. But everyone will have the deck, everyone will have the reference notes and the answers to the questions. Were there any other questions coming in, Austin, that we didn't get to?
I did see one, and Austin, you're on mute. Becky did ask what constitutes as a lead and how are they qualified. So I'll start with what constitutes as a lead. A lead is going to be a phone call. That's going to be a phone call from a consumer who looked at the number that's attached to your local services ads. So we assign tracking phone numbers to these accounts, so we'll know it's from a local services ad. Or if you've turned on the capability, a message lead. And again, those message leads are going to be half the price as phone lead costs. So those are the the only leads we currently have.
So if I could just add a follow-on to that real quick. So part of that value-added service that VitalStorm brings to the table when we're working with our customers in LSA is we actually review every single call recording here at VitalStorm, and we're qualifying those calls. And so basically a lead, simply put, is someone that lives in your service area that needs your service, okay? If that's the person that's on the phone, then that's a lead, and that's something that you have to pay for. Now, the other thing that VitalStorm can do is calls that aren't leads, and you know they're out there, right? You get some who they're maybe out of service area, or it's a wrong service, it's a, I don't know, any other type of call. What we'll do is we'll dispute that lead with the Google team, and they will reimburse the funds. And so Google is so yes, I think by default they charge you for phone calls, but they're really wanting to charge you for just leads. So any phone call you get that is not a lead, we will just, I mean, dispute sounds like an angry word. It's not that. We will submit for review, and they'll reimburse those funds.
So you'll go fight with Ryan over the dollars?
No, they don't fight with us.
And that's a great point, actually. So sort of the benefits of working with one of our Google Premier partners and having that level of management over your account. It takes out some of the day-to-day responsibilities that you as the provider, the Ruud team would need to handle. So we have seen great success with our agencies and just the level of attention to detail, especially to new accounts that are just getting started in digital advertising, just in general.
We want to get this set up so that your pro partners, their job is to answer the phones, book the calls, sell the jobs, do the work, get paid, right? That's the way VitalStorm wants to work with you. And we can work on all the little details and responding to online, in the online system, qualifying the calls, and then we'll even track the results of your calls. And so you'll know things like your booking percentage. So of all these calls I received, how many did I actually book jobs on for the first attempt? And that's all really awesome information. I mean, you would be surprised at the number of clients that we're doing call qualifying for, and they've got an inordinate number of hangups. So their problem is they're just not answering the phones. Now that sounds crazy because we all know that the phone ringing is opportunity, that people get busy. And honestly, they just don't know. But when you point it out to them, they see, oh my gosh, you're right, I'm not answering the phones. It can be a game changer for them, right? So just knowing how well they're answering the phones is really vital. So
one question that came in is, can contractors add to their budget if they put in a certain budget amount? Can they go ahead and add more to that if they had some opportunity in their schedule to take more work?
Absolutely. You guys can go in and edit your weekly budgets anytime you want. So it's really simple. As long as your billing is set up, you can just change the number. So yeah, if you hit your budget, you can add more money and stay visible anytime. Absolutely.
Yep. And there was another question that actually just came in too. When you refer to a lead, what happens if a consumer calls the provider and they are not a new customer? Is that still considered a new lead that has a charge to it?
That is a great question, and no, it is not. So we do have a two-week window with phone numbers. So if a consumer calls you, let's say on Monday to see about a job, and then they call you again on Thursday of the following week to say, yes, we'd like to book it, that's still the same lead.
What about if they're an existing customer that you're already doing business with and they just happen to find that number on search?
That would be very unlikely. I've never had a report of that, of an existing customer then going to find your business through local services ads, because you have to think, if you're working with a customer already, they're going to search for your business name. They're not going to search for plumbers near me or roofers near me or something. But if you ever did get a customer that you were already working with, you could submit that as a dispute and put in the information there. But that's not something we've seen before. So that might be a case-by-case scenario.
So Kim, if I could add to that just a little bit, I suspect it will be a lead, and we will have to pay for it. Don't get me wrong, we'll submit it, but you've got to understand, our pro partners got to understand there's value to them seeing you in the right place at the right time. And I remember XYZ HVAC company, I'm going to call them, right? Because they could have very easily selected somebody above you or below you. So there's value in making sure that they do see when they're searching. And Ryan's exactly right. If they're searching for you by name, they're just going to find you. But if they're searching for something like, HVAC repair Dallas, Texas, they see, oh, heck, I've used those guys before. They were great. And they click and call. I think it's fair to constitute that as a lead. But don't get me wrong. We'll submit it and see if they'll pay us back for it. But I suspect that's going to be a lead.
Yeah, let me clarify there. My understanding of this question was not a new customer, meaning a customer you're currently working with, as someone that is called in a 2-week period. If it's not a new customer, maybe it's somebody you worked with a year ago or more, and they still found you through LSA. You will be charged for that lead. That was a great caveat, Jeff.
Okay.
All right. Well, I know we're coming up towards the top of the hour, and we did want to make sure that everybody was able to get to whatever appointment or meeting they have at the top of the hour, and hopefully have time to grab a cup of coffee or take a bio break. So we want to thank you again for joining us at this very special webinar. We want to thank our Google team, Ryan and Subes. Thank you so much for sharing your time and effort with us. Also the team at VitalStorm, Austin, Jeff, thank you so much for sharing all of your time with Ruud. And again, as a follow-up, everyone is going to get a copy of the materials and the answers to the questions. Look for that midweek next week. And then if you need additional help presenting this opportunity to your pro partners, reach out to your Ruud sales associate and they will get in touch with us and we will help you do that. And that will be with the VitalStorm team and then also with Ashley and myself. So thank you all so much for joining us and have a great rest of your Friday and a great weekend. We thank you so much for joining us.
Bye, guys.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.